Well, hey there, everybody. What's
Hey,
up?
welcome to Adobe Max Week, everybody.
Welcome to our replay of Adobe Max. This is a pre-recorded message coming to you now. We're live. I think this is one of the only live shows this week, Nick. Um, Welcome.
With I totally get it. Everybody worked so hard last week, and I don't think we'd want to be anywhere else
It's
after that
true.
week,
This
right?
is this
Come
is
on.
our home, and hopefully for you
Yeah.
all, this is something that we do every week all together. It's become a tradition for you as well. Okay, let's do this. Wade also Wade is our moderator today. Wade is our moderator for Office Hours pretty much all the time, and we were talking before the
Don't
show
do
about
that.
everything being pre-recorded, so he's freaking out a little bit. So hello, yes, we're live, Wade. All right, Nick, let's identify our friends who are new and do a little bit of
Yeah,
a giveaway just right off the bat. It's a new season, and so we are ready to give stuff away, like literally first thing. So let's do this.
that is
Nick,
perfect.
how do we want to do it in chat to do a little giveaway?
Ooh, is there a particular emoji that we'd love to see maybe everybody do? And it has to be from a new viewer, correct?
Yes, has to be a new
And then
viewer. So
something, maybe is there a particular emoji you have in mind that would be the secret one that like if someone hits it right on the spot, there's the
oh,
winner?
let's do that. Yep. So I have an emoji in my brain. If you are new,
Yes.
drop some emojis in chat. And if anyone gets the correct emoji, we will give
Yeah.
you this. We have an office hours package. It is a koozie and a notepad that we will send over to you as a giveaway. So if you're new here, drop some emojis. If no one gets it, then we will go ahead and open it up to everyone. But give it a little while with our new people who are coming in, probably from Adobe Max. Nice to see you, Max people.
Yeah.
Nick, if our friends are watching on YouTube, I know that there was a lot of content on YouTube last
I
week.
know.
Where do they
Yeah.
go? They're in the wrong place. We love them, but you're in
You're
the
in
wrong
the
place.
wrong place. You want to come over to behance.net/live. That's where we're at. We're in the chat as well. All the family from Office Hours every Friday is here right now. So come on over to Behance. Join us there.
Yes. I love the guest is still coming in. Nobody's got it so far.
Oh,
All right. So, yes, come join us on Behance. And the other place that you can join us is right
right
below us,
here.
Nick. What is that? What is that floating mysterious link?
I have no idea. Could it be our Discord channel? That
It
would probably be where it is.
It is. So our Discord
Yeah.
is an awesome place that you can get involved. And this Discord is thriving. I'll just say it if I will. This is a thriving Discord. We're over here hanging out. And during the show, there's often a classroom chat that you can see right here above. Actually, Nick, can you point up? It's perfectly situated. Yes. All right. Right there where Nick's fingers are. If you go ahead and put that, go into the classroom chat, Elizabeth's hanging out in there, and you can voice chat with us. You can hang out and uh, be on the show maybe at the end. We'll see what
Hey,
happens. But there will be a bunch of
we've
people
been
hanging
known
out
to do
there.
that.
Yeah,
We've
we've
been
been known
known
to
to
bring
bring
us.
some
Why not?
folks on board. Why not? We want to hear from you guys as well.
Yeah.
And have you checked out the emojis? Have you seen anything in there?
I have
What's
not
up,
seen the
guys?
emoji yet, which means that I
Ooh.
think that we should open it up to everybody. So everybody, you can drop an emoji in our. Okay, we'll come back here. I like that
Yeah,
people say hi when I have this screen up in Discord, and so I want to
there you
like give
go.
you your moment. Hi, Justin. Hi, Wade. Thank you. All right, in chat. Nobody's done it yet, so everybody open. Anyone that gets the mystery emoji during the show, we'll give you a prize.
Hmm.
All right, Nick. Let's tell people about office
Wait,
hours because
yeah,
go
we should
ahead.
just introduce
I was
ourselves
we should
first,
introduce
right?
ourselves because we just talked about the new people putting things, and then we didn't talk about ourselves. Will you
Yeah,
introduce yourself, man, on the other
I
side?
will. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Longo. I'm based here in Los Angeles, and one half of the Office Hours team here, along with everybody that joins us every week. We are here every Friday to talk about great things that you might be missing out in the real world, out maybe without with school, without being at work all the time. Just trying to give you great tips and tricks. This is like our fifth or sixth season, I believe. We're at about 78-ish episodes. It's
Yeah.
hard to believe. So it's been over a year. And again, we just love having you guys here every Friday to join in with us and talk a little bit about creativity and stuff. And the person over here to my
Side.
right, there we go.
Who knows?
Introduce yourself.
I'm Andrew Hockrattle. I'm a brand identity designer in Southern California. Also do a ton of content creation, so I like to call myself a creative for hire. Anything for money, why not? I am the other half of Office Hours, and I also do a lot of streams here on Adobe Live. Starting Monday, I'll be doing the Adobe Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, which is doing a whole new format, so tune in for that 11:30 Pacific Standard every day. And yeah, you can follow me on the Instagrams, on Behance, wherever at hawk.co. It is just HOCHDOTCO. Wade's going to drop a link for you. Man, y'all are really trying, and we're just not getting there, but eventually we'll get there. The chat's going to be going.
There's some emojis I've never seen before. That's what I'm loving.
This is going to be our highest engagement rate on any episode. I'm in. All right. Let's go ahead and talk about this season, what we're doing. This new season is called Off the Record. It is all about dispelling design dilemmas, design myths, design things you've heard in school, talking about these rules that like don't exist. And so we're going to break them down, investigate, and also just throw them away.
Kind of like you can't break the rules until you know the rules a little bit.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we wanted to do. Being so structured over the last few courses, we really wanted to give you guys something that could be a free thinking kind of vibe, that there are ways to explore and try different things when it comes to what you're producing as your art.
Yes. And as a clue for chat, I am thinking of a food. I'll give you a clue there. It is a food.
Okay.
So, Nick, I think, were you eating something, Nick? Did you just take a bite of something?
No, I just kind of like went like this.
Sorry, I saw out of the corner of my eye, and I was like, is Nick just like chomping on a granola bar?
No food. I've learned that with anything with audio, just make sure.
Also, if you're watching this in a replay, if you're watching this after the fact, welcome to Office Hours. It's basically a talk show. We like to talk a lot. So yes, we're 8 minutes into the episode. Wade is going to drop like a bookmark. So there we go. Here's where the bookmark starts. Hi, welcome to Office Hours. We just talked for 8 minutes and gave announcements. Welcome to the actual show. That's
there you go.
For you that are skipping all around. Nick, what are we talking about today? Let's just hop into our lecture and get started. I'll keep an eye on chat and see if anyone gets our secret emoji. I'm excited about
this one, yeah. I'd say this is the best one we could have started with, right?
Yes.
All about typography and the myths and the kind of debunking of things with it. It's probably, when it comes to design police, don't you think typography and fonts and text and type really are the number one area where people say there are rules?
Yes, it's the most controversial. Right. Like, people aren't mad about colors, people aren't mad about shapes. Fonts are the thing that people get all hyped about. So we're going to talk about all the things that someone's going to yell at you online at some point when you post a design, or one of your design teachers has told you, you have to do these things. We're going to say no, you can do whatever you want, basically.
Perfect.
So let's hop in and talk about the first thing, and that is this. It's too hard to find fonts. Nick, what have you heard? What's the myth here?
This is literally the answer I get when a student sends me something like this, and it's Myriad. And it's like, I really couldn't find any other fonts. And, you know, you can't have any kind of like, you got to challenge people on this, because you have no excuse now for a plethora of fonts to be available a click away. Part of your subscription, maybe? Not even an extra dime? What would that possibly be?
Just a click away. It's Adobe Fonts. And we're going to show you what Adobe Fonts is. But Nick, do you remember when we didn't have Adobe Fonts?
Oh, of course. I mean, it's still when you have to get a normal font and load it, open font book, load it, make all that stuff. It makes me kind of like just treasure Adobe Fonts more than anything. I thought when they introduced this was a joke. I was like, there's no way we're getting all of this. And not only do we get it, but it's a great interface too, right?
Yep. And Wade is saying now you can even make your own. Yes. Like, you can literally just write something. You can use Vectorize, which is on iPad now, and Illustrator. You can do your own type. Easy. So let's hop in here. Fonts.adobe.com. The myth that it's hard to find fonts. What can we do? Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh. We got an emoji?
We got it. We got an emoji, and the winner is, drumroll please, Gareth Williams with the banana emoji. Congratulations, Gareth.
That was the first banana?
You got it. I know. I thought people would drop bananas more. So, Gareth, you are our winner of the giveaway. Go ahead and send me a DM in Discord right down here, or send me a DM on Behance or Instagram or wherever. Send me a DM. We'll hook you up with the prize. Congratulations for our secret emoji. Congratulations, everybody. All right.
Perfect.
I was ready for Wade to start.
I knew you were looking. I was like, I was even wondering what that emoji was going to be.
Right. All right. So we're here. We're in Adobe Fonts. How do we find fonts, Nick? What do we want to do here to look for fonts?
There's so many different ways you can go about it. I like just going into, I believe it is the It's hard to see because I'm not. Let me get my screen a little bit bigger.
The browse all fonts.
There we go. That's a smart way to just go. Check that out.
So hopping
There
in
you go.
here, and this is the most powerful interface, I think. If you just click on Browse More Fonts, it brings up all the things. And it's really helpful as well. It's not just all the things. It's like curated all the things.
And don't forget, you've got this like easy push button vibe over here on the left with 12 more. That's the perfect little area there to think about the personality of the font that you're striving to get. Particularly, you might not know a name of one, right? But look at this. These are some of my favorites that are showing up in this little luxury pack. I love some of these ones. There's some really cool ones.
And I love that it gives you a description here so that you can
Yes.
understand why these fonts are luxury, right? So it says, when you're looking for typefaces that evoke high quality, high fashion elegance, quickly browse at least 45 high quality. But it's telling you that it is, oh, these are all high quality, high fashion,
Great
elegance.
for fashion.
Yep. And if we come here, friendly, when you're looking for welcoming and approachable type, right? So it shows you why you would pick these.
Yeah, I love too that even before we dig a little deeper, right below that, now let's say you want a purely serif font or you want a narrow sans serif font in that category. You can even break this down even further. So there's so many different ways that you can break it down and find exactly what you're looking for.
And the cool thing here is right now it has the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, but you can type in whatever you want here. So let's type in, I'm doing some graphics for my favorite thing in the whole world.
There you go.
Just Paddington 2. Now we can see, I'm doing a type treatment for Paddington 2. This one looks actually really fun. That G's crazy.
Oh, whoa.
Right? And you can see it so you don't have to scroll through fonts and do all of that insanity by like clicking and clicking and clicking and clicking. Nick, let's do a little game with chat. You think we should do a game?
Love to.
All right, chat.
Yeah, I think we should.
These chat rates are going to be insane. All right, Nick, what are we doing with chat in Adobe fonts?
Maybe they should first come up with a brand that and where does it live? So let's do a new soda company. Let's do that, right?
New soda company. So give us a name and then maybe give us some adjectives.
Some vibes.
What I like to do with type is I always think of type as a character, which we'll talk about more later in this episode. But I think of type as a character, and as I pick different elements, it's like dressing my character, right? I know that a serif is going to be sharper, maybe a little more luxurious, right? I know a sans serif is going to feel more modern. Maybe they're wearing a white suit. And I'm trying to think, does this character fit in this world, and what's the story that they're telling? How do they communicate, right?
It's a character,
It's
right?
a character.
It's a character. Why did we call them characters to begin with, right?
Yep.
So love that kind of analogy. So give us a name of a new soda company, and then drop in a few adjectives. How should this feel, right? What's the vibe we're going for? And we're going to see if we can match it.
Yes, it's going to be fun. And I always think of the difference between, right, we have fonts that could be Kevin Hart, and then we have fonts that could be Tilda Swinton, right? If you think of those two differences and then think about what do those fonts look like, that's kind of how I start, is with this. I don't know why.
I see the exact same font for both of them.
Yes, they're the exact same personality, Nick. That's exactly what it is.
I love it. You couldn't have picked two more extreme opposites, which is Great. Oh, look at this. Crank. Energy, rock, youth. That's perfect.
All right, let's do it.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much, Steven. So Crank. And Frank is saying copywriting session. That's next week's episode. You're a little bit ahead.
A little bit ahead.
So we're doing Crank, and we're putting in here, and none of these look great for our...
Because we're in the luxury brand.
We're in the luxury brand. So
what do we want to find?
Yeah, so we want energy, rock, youth, anarchic. I like that.
Ooh,
3 a.m.
Like that.
So sounds good. Nick, what are some aspects that we might look at with type to find something that fits?
I think you've got rough, you've got distorted. What kind of stuff do you have up there? Scroll on up to the characteristics. Do we have rough?
We do have rough.
Okay, let's check out that. And I'm thinking maybe because it's a can, and we don't have a lot of real estate, let's go with something a little on the condensed side. Does that help?
Yep, let's try to do a width that's a little bit thinner. Oh, I love cheap pine.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might have narrowed it down. Do the middle width, just so we get a little bit more options there.
There we go. Yep, we got more options here. All right, and maybe I want something that is a bit thicker because we want it to really hit.
Let's
go ahead and click on that. Oh, look at that.
Oh, dude, I went right to that one. And that says 3 a.m. If something says 3 a.m., That's the font right
Yep.
there.
And the great thing is, look at this. It has so many different variations of it,
Yes.
which looks amazing. And I can just
Whole
hit
family,
activate.
whole family. Activate them all.
Family. So this button up here is all fonts active, and it will activate every font. So check this out. We will go back and hop into Illustrator. And the cool thing is everything's licensed for commercial and personal use, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That font was called Chandler. I almost said chandelier, like chandelier.
Chandelier.
And we've got
this is Chandler Bing.
We've got our type here, and I'm just going to open up the type tool, hitting Control T, and watch this. We type in Chandler, and it's already synced into our fonts right here.
Ooh,
that looks great.
Wow.
So
for a second there, when you had it reversed, it kind of looked like the label makers. You know, the little
oh yes.
Those dymos or whatever they're called.
Yep, like doing one of these and then reversing it out.
Mm-hmm. But I like that. So that looks good. So Frank, as our art director, how do we do?
How do we do, Frank?
Are we in line?
Did we get it? I think we got it. All right, so easy way to find fonts. And the cool thing is, so let's do a different version of this,
that was
right?
Steven. That was Steven.
Steven, yes. So maybe we want another version of this, and we want to do something that maybe is a little less drastic, right? They think it's a little too punk rock. So let's go in here and check it out. We don't even have to go to fonts.adobe.com. It's integrated into Illustrator by just going over here to Find More. So we're going to click on Find More, and then I believe that we had used, maybe let's do a decorative.
I'd love that.
Right? So decorative has swashes, distressed, and irregular, which is what we want.
Ooh.
And then let's go ahead and do something. Sorry, I think we just had a little earthquake. My mic started shaking. Okay, so distracted here in California. So we're going to do the swatches, distressed, and irregular, and then we're going to do a regular weight because the other one was a little bit too thick, and then we'll do a middle weight. So the cool thing that I love here is you can actually scroll through, and it's going to live update with different fonts, right? And you can just see like, cool, this is what it's going to look like on the final piece. And I actually already liked one up here.
That envoy looked pretty good. That two down there.
Envoy,
that
this one?
Pretty.
That one maybe pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. That's got a.
Ooh, let's do the inline. So what we need to do now is just click on this little cloud, and we're going to click, and it'll say activate. You'll have little arrows. It will be activating, and once it is activated, it will just go into our design. And we have something, Kevin. I wish the font that you chose shows up at the top. I hate it when I can't remember. Yes, yes. Kevin, that is the thing. And if you want to, Wade, I'm going to throw you on a crazy goose chase here. But if you can grab, Wade, the user voice to where you can submit your feedback. So you can submit feedback to Illustrator. If you all want to go right now and submit to where you can filter by the latest synced font. Oh my gosh, that's all that I want.
Yes.
All right, so now we have another one for Crank. It was super easy to find those fonts using Adobe fonts and also the integrations that are in Illustrator. Super easy.
Super easy, super easy. I think it's neat too because like it takes a lot of the guesswork out. It does slimline the time when you're doing that. And if you've never really experienced a lot of this kind of stuff, I think it gets you used to talking about fonts as characters, just the way they have it ready for you to separate, which I love.
Absolutely. Cool. All right. So, and again, Nick and I always build content for this show and assume that like, oh, we're going to get through everything and have extra time. We're for sure not covering everything today. There's no way.
Yeah, I know. We're still on slide one.
We're going to keep going through as much as we can, but really deep dive into type. All right. And sure, Wade. Yeah, I think that's what I want. I don't know what I want, Wade. Wade got it though. Congratulations. All right. Let's go ahead and hop in here. Myth number 2, Nick. What about spacing?
Spacing is not important. I hear, not that you hear this, but I think people believe it in a way, or it's because it's like, or it's a miss opportunity to fine tune. I had a student that typed out something the other day and was going to put it somewhere, and I said, wait a minute, you can't just type something in some random font and let the spacing be as is. You got to go in there and finesse it. And I think there's a lot of things that you can look at. We can obviously look at leading and tracking and things like that. Alignment, justification, all of these things. Margins. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
How many times Do you see things pushed to the edges and stuff? So as much as we want to like, kind of not be so rules, there are some rules here, but we can have some fun with it too.
And yes, I think that the myth here is from clients coming to designers, and we have to fight against this myth, because I think that I have a lot of clients that want to get as much copy and content onto a page as possible. They're thinking the words are the most important part and the spacing's not important, right? That's the myth that exists with clients. And we have to say, hey, it's actually going to be better if we cut some of this copy to be readable. You'll get more interaction because no one's going to read all of this stuff the way that it's smashed in here. So Nick, let's talk about spacing.
Or a very small product, and they're trying to fit a whole book on there, right?
Yes.
So again, a little bit tough, but here we go. I'm going to show you a few things too. Like, here's the other thing. How many times you get copy from a brief or from an email and it's been formatted, so when you bring it into Illustrator or somewhere that you're using it, it's a mess already, right?
Yep.
So you might get something like this where you are, let me get rid of that. Ooh, look at that. I just completely messed it up. So here's something that might be a complete mess when you look at it. And what I like to do is first get in there, and with the character, let's see what we can do. It looks like it's got some weird kind of letter spacing in there as well. So I'm going to bring it down to 0 and see. I could just tell automatically we don't have any line spacing whatsoever here. And I think that looks a lot better all of a sudden, right? It's a little bit more readable, a little bit more. But now, like, do you have any rules when it comes to the paragraph kind of thing and the, like centered to me, we were talking earlier, doesn't work for long, big kind of copy blocks.
Yes.
To me, it kind of doesn't work.
Doesn't work for long copy, but it could work for little call outs. It could work for quotes. I think is a really great one. The biggest controversial opinion that I have about letter spacing is this. So here, you keep talking and I'll type it out and then we'll come back to it. Do you want to talk about hyphenation in there real quick?
Oh, yeah, for sure. But I was going to do a quick one like this and show you that. Just a quick little, if this was all you were doing and it was a quote or something and you wanted to have that in that, you can do the big quotes and have something fun, and centered kind of looks great as well. But for here, I'm a big fan of the left kind of alignment. There's justified, which kind of helps, but I think too, you got to go in there and make sure hyphenation is good. You got to make sure there's no crazy widows. So what you want to do is make sure, or
Nick,
are you
what
getting
are widows and orphans?
Widows and orphans are when you get like just one word or one kind of thing as a last line. And you want to fine tune those as best as you can when you're messing around with these justifications and your paragraph stuff. So that's a great one as well. I think for sure you want to make sure. So I just want to make sure these things have a welcomeness to them. If there's a font that you're choosing, maybe in some ways too, I love to kind of give it maybe a little bit of, like, let's say, let me find it here. Here we go. I think this could be just a tad bit more narrow.
Yep.
This font so you can mess around with the width of it, and that might fix a lot of those little issues you were having with a widow or a inconsistent kind of line space or something in there between words.
Yep.
So
and I love
me, it's a great way to
the
go.
way that Wade put it. No rivers and no windows. Yes, 100%. You should not see a river flowing through your text. It should feel like it's blocked in. And my settings are really always between the font size and the leading is always a 2-point difference, the minimum.
Gotcha.
Sometimes it's a lot more, but it's always a minimum. And also for reference for you guys, there's a couple terms here. We want to talk about leading. Nick, what is leading?
So leading is basically your space between lines.
Yes.
Correct. So every line here, if I'm messing around with it, what's nice too is by doing this and giving it a little bit more space, you can see all of a sudden there is a much more ease to its readability and its clarity, and it's welcoming. So and also too, we'll talk a little bit later in kind of font pairings. Even that is something you can use to just differentiate certain things if you're doing logo types and things like that, how you're increasing that, how you're increasing letter spacing, all that kind of fun stuff.
Yep. And Nick, the difference between kerning and tracking.
Ooh.
Do you know the difference between those two?
That's a good one. I know the difference. I know kerning is basically in between, like in this kind of a font, but tracking is more, help me out, because
So kerning is between two letters and tracking is between all the letters.
All the letters. There you go. That's the difference.
Yes.
Did you know that so we have auto kerning with this as well, which is kind of unique.
And I believe that this is a newish feature.
Yeah, so when you click on one of these here, and like this one here, now this is an odd font because you can see I've got a little extra space optically here, but I got less in this thing here. But if you go here to where your kerning is, and you click on here, you do have this new optical. So watch what happens when I click it. Do you see how it kind of evenly spaced things out a little bit there, which was kind of cool? I'll turn it off. You can see what
Yep.
it's going to do is it's bringing the OBE together, and it's giving me a little bit more space between the A and the D. And I love that even that's a great starting point. And don't forget, you can always just take your cursor, pop it in here, and with Option and your right and left arrow, you can manipulate in between each one.
Yes, that
and
was
get
a world
an even
changer for
optical
me.
thing, right? Like let's say you want these to actually get to a point where some of these do touch, you can go in and hand kind of adjust each one by using that exact tool.
And you don't
which
have to
is
like
great.
highlight and change the setting. Literally just use the hotkey.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
it's magic.
Love that.
So
Yeah.
I want to show something that is an alignment thing before I
Go
move
for it.
on. So this is my hot take. I love full justified type. I think it's definitely a move for like a certain vibe. The
Yeah.
best use that I've ever seen of this was a poster for The Omen, which is basically
Ooh.
like just a horror movie that's just like evil. And they
Which
basically
needs to be redone.
Oh, absolutely. But they
I love
basically
that.
took the credits in the description of the movie and they used full justify to make the shape of like an upside down cross. And I just thought that that was the
Oh,
smartest thing to use full justify to basically turn the
yes.
text into a shape. So if you're using a shape,
Ooh.
using full justify sometimes, you can make really interesting compositions using that idea. So I love this. Everyone hates it, but again, it's one of those things like don't ever use this, but it's just a myth. You can use it if you have the right reason to.
It's actually worth trying too. I like because let's face it, when you see something really cool out there, the first thing you say is, why didn't I try that? What
Yep.
was stopping me from taking that risk or doing something, right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, so we have two that are Nick and I are just gonna get in a fight right now. Actually, I think Nick, I think that we're fighting for the rest of the episode is what's gonna
Oh,
happen.
good. Let's do it.
So,
I love it.
everyone pick your side. Team Nick, Team Andrew. All right,
Let's go.
let's hop in to our next myth. Nick, you take this one.
Yeah, so this myth is the more fonts, the better. And let's just call it when a typical, not too crazy, not too editorial kind of thing. I think less fonts are better in this kind of situation. Now there is a world where we can explore and do all kinds of different fun things, but to me sometimes it does get a little bit too crazy and using too many faces and too many weights I think could be a distraction. What's your take?
My take is the exact opposite.
Opposite.
So there's this rule, right, that we should only use two fonts on a composition. And I love being inspired by old vintage typography. So the reason that this exists is there was an explosion, and a lot of these are called Tuscan. This is like kind of wood type era, Industrial Revolution. There's an explosion of different kinds of type. And the reason that I love this kind of style and being able to put as many fonts as you want on a sheet is that you're able to communicate a bunch of different ideas in unique ways that don't have to
Yes.
tell a consistent story, right? So I think the rule, right, the myth that we have that you can only use two fonts is if you're telling one idea in one story. I think if those
Yeah.
ideas are not together, then you can kind of go crazy and do stuff like this to where John Clark and A Gentleman of the Great Town, right, at the top there, is an idea, right? Flowers of the Forest. Those are three separate fonts, but the reason they work is because they have a similarity and a contrast. So if you're using a bunch of fonts, look for something that has a thread that ties them together, right? So here's what I mean. Flowers on top and forest on the bottom, they both have a similar line weight, which means the thickness of those lines, right?
Yeah.
But the difference is that the bottom is a slab serif on forest and the top on flowers is a serif, right? And so in
Yeah.
between those, we have a varying line weight, right? You can see on the O's, the O is a varying line weight, right? It's thick on the outside, thin on the top and bottom. And then it has those slabs. So the slabs tie together from the middle to the bottom, the line weight from the bottom to the top, and then the contrast is the width in the middle of those. So you want a thread and be able to make connections, and then you can start to go crazy with fonts, right? So down here where it says
Yeah.
love in the humble life, nothing in common, full contrast, and it still works. So that's kind of the mentality that I have to use those and kind of go back and forth. And yes, Umacorn says it depends on the project, 100%.
And I think that's the number one thing, because like you have seen magazine spreads or something that had to be, or let's say a resume for that matter, you would never go that route, right? I think having the freedom to do it means your project is allowing you that freedom in a way. But I'd also challenge you too that in that example, I think a lot of that feels like it came from at least the same foundry, right? Like the same vibe and the same there was a chunkiness and a bold slab, because again they were American wood fonts.
Same world, different characters, right? Is maybe how we look at it, right? You don't want to have a bunch of fonts from different worlds that we have sci-fi and whatever, but if you can find a bunch of fonts that would exist in the same world and just be different characters, throw all of them together, and if you can make it work, you make it work. And yes, Laura's saying, I guess it depends on the case. Both theories are true in certain situations. That's what this whole season is about, is that like all of these theories are either completely wrong or totally right, and there's literally no rules. You can do whatever you want.
I love it.
So Nick, let's talk about font pairings here, right? So you're talking about,
this is leading into that quite perfectly, right?
Yes.
That's really cool. And these are cool ones you guys can try. We found 4 kind of unique things that would be pairings, ways you can do it. The first one is this finding similar features and aesthetics that are in both fonts. So what I'm going to try to do here is just do something a little bit fun, and we'll do Office.
Fun on this show? I won't allow it.
I know. Isn't this great? And then we'll do Hours here. So what I want to do is I'm thinking of 2 fonts that might be a little bit different. There's one that I found here that is called Atrament.
That sounded like you were starting a designer version of I Spy. Where you're like, I spy with my little, I think with my little brain about a font.
There you go. Now, here's the cool thing. Looking at this font, try to start thinking about what is working with this font, right? It's a uniform line weight. It does get a little bit thin in certain curves, but then it's got the rounded edges and everything else. So if I wanted to get a script that I think was going to be working with that quite well, and again, it's all uppercase, and then we're doing upper initial case for Hours. The one I found is this one. These were all on Adobe fonts. It is called Fair Weather. And I'll show you how these kind of start to look and work together, because they have same nuances and they have things that are kind of different and unique at the same time. So what I love is this has the rounded kind of corners and everything here. So there's unique ways to start figuring out how this would actually work together. And would that be a successful pairing?
And you know what's standing out to me as well is the bowls of the U with the bowls of the O and the C. It is a very similar bowl in those to have that similar shape.
You're seeing a really nice kind of similarity. So when you find similar features, that's a kind of a cool way to do it as well.
Yep. And
another
real
one
quick,
here. Go ahead.
We had a question. Actually, we had probably the best comment that Wade has ever had. And then also a question. We'll do the question first. How many colors can I use in a font? We're going to talk about that in a second when we talk about accessibility. But a great designer to look at is Meg Lewis. She uses a lot of color within a word, within different phrases. And so you can really push it, but you want to maintain balance. And then I also want to read this comment from Wade. Also, there is an ebb and flow of styles that go in and out culturally. I think in a postmodern era, there are pockets of appreciation for both styles, and likewise, they will go in and out of fashion. Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
I love
Gold
that.
Star Wade, pin it to the channel. It's the best comment you've ever had. Thank you for your insight. All right, Nick, back to what you're doing. Let's talk about it.
Great. So here's the second one, is to find a chunky one that pairs well with a skinnier one. So what I'm going to do is let's do this in all caps. We'll have that here. And what's neat is, because their architecture is almost the same, I'll even go lighter on this one just so we can see. There we go. So totally different fonts, pairing really nicely and well, because what they're doing is they're kind of opposites, but yet in a similar family. One's got this chunky, one's got a little bit skinnier one, and you can see they're very complementary and they look great. One thing you can do, which I always love to do when you see this, since Hours does have a bit of a roundness, I'm just going to take this, create outlines.
Yes.
And with the fun little tool here, we'll just give it the tiniest little, I'll even zoom in just so we can get this nice and subtle. But I love this idea of just being able to go in and subtly round that off. And it's just an optical, just pleasing to see both work like that. Now, even in different colors, complementary or something kind of fun, we still are working pretty cool. And we got very unique kind of palettes going on here by pairing as well.
Yep. And I want to
Isn't
show
that cool?
something with pairing
Go
of that
for it.
idea of kind of having contrast. This is one of my favorite things to do with contrast. And let me pull my screen up real quick. I've been doing it in the background. So let me
Go
tighten
for
this
it.
up real quick. And then, so I love to have contrast in complete contrast. I think pairs really well. So, right, I'm going to jump over here.
Yes.
And we have these two fonts. So one is called B4 and the other is called Adrienne. And these I pair all the time together because one is thick, tall, and condensed, and the other is thin, wide, and squatty. And so they're complete opposites, but they pair together so well because there's nothing in common, but they have really identifiable features. And so I love pairing this. I've done this pairing like 90 times.
I'm getting real SNL vibes.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Right?
100%. All right. Hopping
That's
back to your
great.
screen, Nick. What are we doing now?
Yeah, the last one I want to do is by trying to add both a traditional heading with a decorative body. So the idea here, and these are great because they actually are in that luxury zone. I think I found them both there. This first one we're going to call is Grand. I love this Granville Light.
Nick
Look
just got
at
so
this.
excited about this font. Ooh, yeah.
I love this. I love this. But now we need that script to go with it. And what I'm trying to do is this is very traditional, has just slight thick and thins in there as well. But the one here that I found that I thought was great, it's one of my favorites. It's House Holiday. This is one of my favorite scripts. Look at this. Now look at the elegance of both of these together. Because don't they have that like Saks Fifth Avenue kind of thing going on there a little bit, right?
Yes, this feels like the hotel that I would stay at that like is in a horror movie, but it's like a mystery horror movie to where like just like crazy stuff happens, but it's like classy crazy stuff.
Oh, I love that. So again, just finding those little nuances. I'd say my one tip I would say to you could almost do anything. These are just fun little rules of how to pair them. The one thing I wouldn't do is have two fonts that are just so similar that no one would even see the difference. Like that's almost the rule of the only thing not to do when it comes to this, right?
Yep.
Like you just have two fonts that are so similar. Why use two?
Yep. Wade just dropped another great comment. Wow, I can't afford this version of the office hours. That's fit. Yes, this is our Behance profile premium subscription. This is our subscribers only version of office hours. Everything is gold, and Nick and I are in suits. All right, let's go ahead and we're actually going to skip one. I'm sorry, but we have a little bit of time. Like we could kind of talk about it. Let's talk very quickly about it, Nick, because it is important. I want to talk about accessibility, and there is this myth that great typography is invisible. Great typography is very, very, very visible, and you can see here.
I totally agree
that no one can right. This is so hard to read. Can you talk about why it's important to make sure that typography is like the most visible and not something that's kind of hidden behind something else?
Well, 9 times out of 10, the type is actually trying to tell you something. So why would you hold it back? Why would you disguise it? Why would you confuse anybody? Particularly on the accessibility side as well, too, for visibility and readability. But if it's a piece that you're doing something for fun, obviously fonts, text, and everything could be ghosted back in the background or something like that. But to me, I think we're communication designers first, right? And to me, I think it has to be that legible. It has to stand out. This idea of it being invisible, I don't know where that really, I don't know. How do you feel?
Yeah.
Similar,
I think that something that is really important is this. Color.adobe.com. This is where you check accessibility. And I think it's the biggest thing for type is making sure that it's readable, making sure that people can understand it. And look at this. Look at all the accessibility tools that we have built in here. You can look at the text, right? So check this out. Small text, 17 and below, not regular text. It's giving you everything that you need to be able to understand accessibility and make sure that type is accessible and readable for all. And yes, Michael says contrast is key. I agree.
Boy, that is like a teacher on the fly, right? Like just having someone able to look and give you that, like, yes, go for it. Nope, might need to change it.
Yep.
Yeah, great move. All right, are we ready?
Nick, we're about to hot take. We're about to do some hot takes, and we're talking about accessibility. This is where we go. All right. So I'm going to go ahead.
There's only 2 things in the world.
Yes. I wore this hat specifically for a reason right there. So the reason is, chat, I'm sure that you know what font this is. Let me know what font this is in chat.
Lobster.
So, good old Comic Sans. All right, let's talk about it. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here's the myth. Comic Sans and Papyrus are terrible. I think that Comic Sans and Papyrus are amazing for specific things, right? They get so much hate, and I'm like, that's because you're not using them right? It's not their fault, it's your fault. If you're making fun of Comic Sans and Papyrus, you're making fun of yourself. Again, hot takes. Please, let's not fight, but we can fight. That was, you and me can fight, Nick. I just don't want to fight chat. All right.
No, exactly.
So here's a great quote talking about Comic Sans and why it's important. And this is why it's important is because of accessibility. So the wide set, uniquely shaped letters may assist dyslexic people in reading. According to the British Dyslexia Association, sans serif fonts such as Arial and Comic Sans are best for dyslexic workers. In 2016, right, just a little while ago, this isn't like outdated, AIGA, an association of designers, that's us, claimed that Comic Sans might just be the best font for people with dyslexia. So it's something that it has a use for a specific thing. And even though we hate the style, sometimes the usage and function has to outweigh the style, right?
And also when you see it multicolored, and then also when you see that the arch of the H might be different from the arch of the B, that's all intentional, right? That was to identify characters better based on their drastic differences. If it was all based on the exact same circles and straight lines or whatever it is, it's harder for that person to read.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Then and I love when you see someone, you get an email signature and someone has the multicolored Comic Sans in their signature.
Yep.
That just makes my day. I love that.
And you have to think about when you're using Comic Sans, if you are using it for a specific reason in a specific context, right? We always talk on the show that design has to exist in a certain context.
Yes.
And here's the one that I want to talk about. This is
Drum roll.
This is like more than Comic Sans. This is the one that I get heat for.
Yes.
I think Papyrus was great in Avatar. I think it was the correct choice for Avatar. And here's why.
You do.
Here's why.
Yeah.
Don't hate me.
Okay, go for it.
Actually, let's let you go first, Nick. Why? Why should we not?
I want to see how much they actually customized and changed it. So I'm comparing it. Let's see.
That's pretty much exactly the same.
Now go back to your to the movie picture. Okay. They messed around with it a little bit.
It's like a thick Avatar.
It's not. Actually, it's totally different. It's totally different. The T is completely different. The A has a break in it at the top left. It has a the right leg goes down. So all this controversy, it's not even Papyrus.
They also did it so that it was in the subtitles. The subtitles were legitimately Papyrus.
Yes. Yeah. Now, here's what I will agree with you. You can go back to the movie poster.
Yes.
I get with what you're saying. I think it works beautifully. Oh yeah, that's right. The subtitles. That's where it got really bad.
Yes.
That should have been a normal font because I think accessibility, that kind of stuff, readability, but go for it.
Very fair for accessibility, actually. I didn't think about that. But here's why I think Avatar can use Papyrus and why it makes sense. So the reason that fonts make sense is because of context, right? And I think the Papyrus within our world and our existence, I don't think Papyrus has a place anywhere. It doesn't have a specific reference to any movement, to any time period. It is generic and maybe it's old, right? And that's why I think Papyrus doesn't work. But I think that the Avatar world set a context to where that would work, right? There is actual context for it. Feels like it is a part of the tradition. It feels like it is part of the culture of the Avatar world. And to me, they kind of reclaimed it and said, oh no, this fits within our context. And it helps to inform the world that our characters are living in. And so I think that it worked really, really well as the subtitles because I don't think that these characters would be speaking in Papyrus would be speaking in Arial or speaking in Helvetica, right? It feels like it would be speaking in Papyrus. It made sense to me.
Help me out here, chat, because here's my take on it.
Yes.
He spent billions of dollars to create a world unlike anything we've ever seen.
Oh, it should have been custom type. It should have been custom type.
100%. I mean, it should have been so primal and so real and almost what I would love to see. Okay, has anybody gone to the Star Wars lands at either Disney World or Disneyland, the Sprite and the Coke bottles. Have you seen those?
Oh, I literally have one on my
Yeah.
bookshelf back here.
So they took Sprite and Coca-Cola and they made it in what, if it was available in Dagobah or something on some planet, how would it look?
Yes,
and
unique.
That's amazing creativity. In fact, the Avatar logo should have been almost in a whole other language, and then below it say like Avatar for us.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And I think the amount of thought that went into that, the Star Wars land thing and Galaxy's Edge, let's go ahead and put this up real quick.
Yeah, I think there's a few. There
right
you
here.
go.
So there's a few of them. And this is what I'm talking about, to where the type is informed by the context, right? In our world, this doesn't make any sense, right? And to me, it's it's just the opposite of Avatar, right? So it's the idea of us injecting Helvetica into the Avatar world. They would see it as this. They would be like, "What are these letters?" But then using Papyrus is like, "Oh, that's like this," is putting it in context. The case study on this type is freaking insane.
I freaked out. I knew it existed. I'd see it online somewhere, but when I actually got one, I put it in the backpack. I took this thing home. I could not throw it away because also too, it's got this finish. It looks like it's been through the ringer. It's like distressed and distorted all over the place. It's
even the bottle caps, like the bottle caps are different.
You know, they were banned. People were taking it home.
Yes, because they looked like bombs.
Yeah,
they got banned on flights for like a week because they looked like they were like grenades, and people were like, "Yeah, you can't have these."
Now here's a great example. I just put up the actual Avatar logo with Papyrus font. All this time, it really isn't Papyrus. It's slightly influenced, but what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Look at the A. It's totally different. Look at the R.
Pretty influenced.
I think someone traced over it with a lot more character and a lot more subtlety.
I'm not mad about it because there's no references to like real world like culture or history in Avatar. It's all its own thing, and it seems like this fits with the culture and environment that they have created.
I 100% agree with you, but if you are going to make this new world, why would you use a font that is embedded on every computer in the world?
Fair. I think Nick wins. I think the point Nick won, Andrew 45. I don't know.
Comic Sans has a leg because of its legibility, and I'm all for that. I love that idea of it. But I'm sorry.
Yes. All right.
Papyrus,
and Mimi's saying, can
gone.
someone post a link in the Discord to the case study of the type? Wade, if you can find that, can you drop that link? And then Elizabeth, can you drop it over in Discord? There is a great case study. I know I've read it. I don't know where it exists. Maybe?
I can't remember where I saw it. Yeah. That would have been a dream project beyond belief.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. We've got 7 minutes left and one more point. Then we want to talk about what's coming up for the show for all of you friends who are new. Let's go ahead and talk about this one. And this is my favorite one. Chat, we're going to do another giveaway. Why not? Nick. Watch chat, and I'm going to put a thing up, okay? Chat. Yes. I'm going to put up a slide, and the myth here is that good typography has to be clean and structured. This is the trend right now. The trend, right? We have all these...
Who's the artist?
We have all the D brands. We have, like, we have... like Audi, everyone's just doing type that's just like it's clean and it's like modern, and it seems like that's the myth, right? Here is the reason that we can break that myth. It is by an artist named David Carson, and he is the antithesis of this myth that good typography is clean and structured. So here's what I'm going to ask you, chat. What does this say? I'm going to put an image up here. And what does this say? And we're going to pick somebody to win of what that says. So here we go. What does this say? Go ahead, type it in chat, and we will do a giveaway for someone. Maybe the first person that puts it in there. Why not? We'll wait.
There we go. I love this kind of stuff because to me, this challenges me to be a little bit more experimental with stuff and breaking the rules. I need more influence like this.
Yep, this is the one that I think this is the myth that overall proves that there are no rules. Like there is a way to do everything in design.
Yeah. Oh wait, thanks for that link, dude. This is wonderful.
Yes.
Guys, check out that link. You'll see.
And yes, I think Gareth and Elizabeth both had it right, but they've won stuff before. So like somebody else, we'll see if anyone else puts it in there. And yes,
you're gonna see 6 more with the correct answer now. Watch.
Right, yeah, drop them in there. Okay, there we go. All right, let's give one to Zach Thomas. You came in there. Zach, send me a DM on Discord or here on Behance, and we'll hook you up with a prize package from Adobe Office Hours, me and Nick. So yes, it says, don't mistake legibility for communication. I love this poster because it throws out every rule of type, right? It is set wrong. The kerning is terrible. The tracking's not consistent.
It's not even in order, right?
Like, it's not in order. It's the wrong, like, everything is wrong. And I think that is the magic of type, that type never has to be any certain way. It can be whatever you want. And Nick, have you seen some of the other work of David Carson?
Not too much. I think I saw most of it through Adobe Max last week. I'm getting kind of a crash course on his stuff, but that to me is just curiosity. That is everything, right? To me, that is like the kind of stuff I want to produce more of. I love seeing stuff like that.
Yep, and David Carson is all about, again, creating a world with characters in it. And I want to find a specific example because David Carson did a spread a magazine spread where the biggest thing on the page was the page numbers. And it was like just the greatest thing to just be like, literally don't care, to put it up there. I can't find it.
What's your take on, I know this is his thing, but at one point he had to try it and it had to get backlash and it had to get enough people saying absolutely not. How do you break through? Is it just, you just keep doing it and you get to a point where now you're him and it works?
Yes. I think that's the answer, is you have to be able to take chances. And again, it wasn't him being reckless. That's the thing. It's not being reckless. It is, and here's a ton of his work. It's not about being reckless. It's about that post that he said, don't mistake legibility for communication. He switched and had a different mindset to say, I just want to communicate to people and tell a story. I don't necessarily need it to be readable. I need it to have a character, right? This is right. Like,
that ray gun, that is, I would stop and try to dissect that 1,000% if I saw that on a newsstand.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And to me, David, this is such a weird comparison. If we're talking about characters, to me, David Carson is the Ryan Gosling of design. And here's what I mean by that. When we're thinking about characters in a movie, right? Ryan Gosling is so good at just looking at the camera and you like immediately understand what's happening, right? He doesn't have to give you anything. And I think that the reason that David Carson works is because it is literally nothing. It is all of the things, but like it's not anything. It's not a design. It's not a shape. It's not something that's recognizable. It just exists, but yet you get an emotion and a feeling from it and you understand what he's trying to communicate. And so to me, I always make that correlation that it's basically Ryan Gosling looking at the camera and David Carson's like, here is a sheet of nothing that is literally just like chaos. Like, this is not anything, but
I would almost go with
100%.
like Joaquin Phoenix or something, because
it is Joaquin.
There's just enough passion and feeling, but you don't know what it is. And I think that's the neat thing about Carson's work is I want to just go into those layers and I want to translate what's happening with that, even though it's just pure typography. And in most cases, it's the simplest of typography. It's not crazy fonts, right? He almost has his family of go-tos. Great.
Absolutely. So we got a couple minutes left. Thanks for joining us for our type myths. That was a super fun episode. And this entire season is basically going to be that. We're going to be talking about what the myth is and why it's wrong, how we can break it. This is the season of no rules. There are no rules in design.
The test.
That's it.
Yes.
We're learning the rules.
We're going to have to we got to get little like Sherlock Holmes magnifier glasses here. I think that's going to be our prop.
We do need a prop this season.
When Andrew and I figure something out, we're literally getting it on Amazon.
Yes.
At our doorsteps the next day.
Absolutely. All right. So let's do just a quick recap of all the ways that you can get involved with Adobe Live, get involved with office hours, and the biggest one is the link that's floating underneath
Right
us.
there.
Join our Discord over here. There's a lot of great recaps from the show today, some great quotes. And look at this, Lori the entrepreneur. Hi, Lori. Welcome to our Discord. Lori's here in our Discord, and you should be too.
Nice.
If you're new here, go in, introduce yourself, say hi in the Off the Record channel right over here under the Office Hours tab. You also can join the classroom chat for most of the show, hang out in there. There's live voice. You guys can make fun of us, say whatever you want in there. And I think that's it. Nick, what are we talking about next week?
It's all about writing copy. We want to make sure we break down that myth that you just don't have to do that. Somebody else has got the copy covered. You as a designer, learn some skills there, and man, will you shine.
Yep. It's going to be a fun time. So thanks for joining us for Office Hours. Next week, I might have a special surprise for you. We'll see what happens. But we will see you next week for another episode of Adobe Office Hours. We're talking about copywriting. So see you there. Bye.
Bye, y'all.